we bring back national service? Do get your calls in right now. I'd love to hear from you on this one. Although the government says clearly conscription is not currently on the cards, Cabinet Office Minister Pat McFadden said perhaps decisions are needed in the future that respond to a new reality. We've had military conscription twice in modern times. Let me take you through the history a little bit. You'll remember this one. During the First World War, Lord Kitchener's famous "Your country needs you" poster was used to drive recruitment. And although more than 1 million men signed up by 1915, this wasn't enough. So, in 1916, the Military Service Act imposed conscription on all eligible single men between 18 and 41, and then extended it to married men too. And in 1918, in the last months of the war, the age limit, would you believe, was raised to 51 years old. I certainly hadn't remembered that fact. 51 years old, my goodness. Well then, on the day we declared war on Germany in 1939, Parliament brought in the National Service Act, imposing conscription on all men aged between 18 and 41 again. But where are the women in all of this? Well, it wasn't until 1941 that women were conscripted. All unmarried and childless widows aged 20 to 30 were liable to be called up. And Wilfred, I wonder whether you think that it's time that national service made a comeback.
I tell you what, I've always been a great supporter of national service, probably more so now than in the past, because for a number of reasons. A, because I think we have societal problems where a lot of young people, what do they call them, Gen Z or whatever the terminology is, they are brought up with a sense of entitlement rather than actually understanding to live in a country, you're there to do what you can for this country. But more concerningly is what is happening in the rest of Europe at the moment. We're getting a big wake-up call that actually we may need to sort of stand up and actually fight for living in our country. And the thing that I found really surprising, countries like Sweden and Norway, they have a national service. I did not know that these countries have those. So if they're doing that, there's no reason why we can't.
And obviously, you know that one of the reasons we're talking about this is what's going on in Poland, Ben, where they're taking steps right now.
And that's why those countries are doing it in a way that we're not, because they border with Russia. There's far, far more likelihood that Russia might invade Poland or Finland than it's going to invade the United Kingdom. So this isn't necessary. That's the first thing to say.
You don't think it's necessary?
I'm also quite tired, Wilfred, to be honest, of this constant demonisation of young people today. These are young people paying thousands upon thousands and thousands of pounds for an education that most of us got for free. They're never going to get on the housing ladder because house prices have gone through the roof. They are working all hours gone sends on 0 hours contracts, only for you to come on television and call them all entitled. And lots of people to suggest that what they need is military training. I'm sorry, it's just offensive. Young people need to be able to get on, get the education that we all were able to benefit from, and pursue their dreams, not waste their lives being trained in guns and knives.
I mean, it's very interesting, isn't it, that Ben says waste their lives being trained for military service, because I think many people with long memories and many people who are of a rather vintage variety will think very differently about that. They will think that military service gave particularly young men structure and a team framework and all kinds of really important life skills, not least doing what you're told to do when you're told to do it straight away and jumping to it. And, you know, people will remember their grandfathers, their fathers, saying that it was the greatest kind of life-opening thing that ever happened to them.
I am 67 years old, OK? And I'm telling you, a teenager back in my day compared to a teenager now, they are entitled. I employ people like this, and I understand and I see their attitude towards society. It is crazy to think that actually teenagers today are like they were in the past. There was a lot more responsibility, and I would like to get back to that sort of mindset.
Can I ask you something, Wilfred? Because when you say they are entitled, I think people watching at home are entitled to know what you mean by entitled. Entitled to what? What do they believe they're entitled to? Explain it a little bit.
Well, what I mean by entitled is that they feel that somehow society owes them that it's not about, they don't have a sense of responsibility. And part of that is all this stuff about well-being and sort of mental health. Somehow I've got problems and therefore it's the rest of society to support and help me. Not about how can I help society? What could I contribute?
So you're saying ask not what your country can do for you, but ask what you can do
for your country. What has society done for them? Because society for your generation, even my generation, society did a lot. Free education, ability to get on the housing list, safe, stable jobs at the end of when you came out of school or college or whatever it was. For this generation, that's all gone. What you're mistaking, Wilfred, I think respectfully, for entitlement is a frustration and an anger that the drawbridge and the ladder has been pulled up by our generations and let them out.
I've been dying for the calls to pour in on this one. I cannot wait to hear what callers have to say. Thank you so much for ringing. Dying to talk to you. Cyril's on the line in Kent. Cyril, what do you think? Do you think national service conscription is a good idea?
I do. A few years ago, I would have thought, no, I was experienced, I did, and I didn't want to go, but I went, and I hadn't been there long, and I realised the benefits that it was giving me in making me more mature. But I look at some of the things that go on in society today and think that perhaps some of the younger people would benefit from going through national service the same as I did.
I'd really love you to describe how you felt when you arrived on day one, which you've already told us was not keen in the least, and then what it was that you learned or that you experienced in national service that had this effect on you that now you think it was one of the most important features in your life. What was it like on the day you arrived? What were you feeling? And then what happened?
I was worried. I was worried about what was going to happen to me. Yeah. I did as I was told. And I behaved myself, and then I slowly realised that I was being made more mature than I was when I actually went in.
So what year was it that you did your?
Oh my word! I would have been. Well, I was born in 1932, and I was 22 when I went in. I got deferment to take my exams.
In 1954. What did you learn?
I took a long time getting my finals, and the King decided that I had deferment long enough, and he called me up.
All right. So what did you learn that was the thing that got through to you and made you think, hang on, I hadn't wanted to do this, I was nervous, I wasn't keen, but now I'm learning stuff that really matters. What sorts of things really did make an impression on you?
How to keep a billet clean. I think, that was one of the first things that all of us had to do, and we learned from. I learned to take orders from other people, which I think is important, especially when you're growing up, learning to take orders from other people. And it broadened my outlook on the whole of society. I then to look at, why I was there, what were the benefits of being there to the country.
And Cyril, did you mix with people and meet people, the sort of people you never would have known in normal life, people from different sort of sectors of society?
Absolutely. We were a very mixed bunch, but it was a great levelling experience. We all came to like one another and work for one another, even though I couldn't understand one man who came from Yorkshire. His accent was so broad that coming from Kent, I didn't recognise half of what he said.
All right, final question. I'm so grateful you called, because obviously this is literally the horse's mouth. This is perfect. Final question. When you came home at the end, did your parents, your friends, your employers, people you knew, did they say that you had changed? Were you a different person, a changed man?
I think the lady... The lady that I actually married, yes, she thought that. If I could just quickly say that when I went into the Air Force, I was actually courting a young lady. Halfway through my service, I said to my future wife, "Why don't we get married?" And I actually got married while I was in the Air Force.
Wow.
I had 3 days leave, and 2 days it was a honeymoon in London. but I married, and when my wife said, "Why are we going to do it now?" I said, "We get marriage allowance for the rest of the period that I'm in the Air Force."
All right.
Jolly good reason. Not romantic, but practical. Absolutely excellent. Cyril, thank you so much. What a great pleasure talking to you. Thank you very much. I mean, just to say, Ben, this is a guy who didn't want to do it. It's not like he was a big fan.
Absolutely lovely story. And let's be clear, Vanessa, nobody's saying that for a lot of people, national service won't be a great thing, won't be a good idea. Nobody's saying it shouldn't happen. What we're talking about here is whether every young person should be mandated by the government and the state to do it, regardless of whether they are in a job they love, an apprenticeship they're thriving in, or they started a business, or they're a budding actor or musician or sportsman, whatever it is. For the state to say, regardless of all that, you must do national service, despite the fact that you, your parents, your teachers, your family might think it's going to hold you back. That's what I'm objecting to.
But do you not think, though, Wilfred, if you're going to do it, it must be exactly what Ben says it shouldn't be, which is everyone all at once with no exceptions?
It has to be. It's a bit like education. We all accept the fact that every child has to go to school to be educated. I say the same thing with national service because it does something really important. It also connects. That story we were just hearing about people from different walks of life coming, meeting, it creates a gel for the nation. So I do think it will be mandatory. I just think that everybody should do it.
Let's bring in Trevor in Bournemouth. Hi, Trevor. Good to talk to you.
Yeah, morning, Vanessa. Morning, panel.
What do you think about this?
Well, speaking as a veteran myself, I mean, I joined the military in 1979. Obviously, it wasn't national service. It was my choice to join up. But fast forward 40-odd years, I personally don't think national service would work, not in today's society. I'm not saying every young person should be tarred with the same brush, but there's an awful lot of younger people now who don't have any respect for any kind of discipline. I think on a personal level, the armed forces have probably gone a lot softer than what they used to be. And, certain things have been removed from the military side of life. I mean, as I said, I joined in 79 and it was a lot different than what it is now.
Yeah.
In some respects, in an ideal world, national service would be good. It would be good for individuals. It'd be good for the country, because there's so much you can do in the armed forces.
What Trevor, was it what attracted you? Because obviously you signed up voluntarily, it was what you wanted to do. Was it those incredible adverts that we used to see showing recruits travelling all over the world and learning all kinds of jumping out of aeroplanes, all that kind of thing?
Yeah, it was. I suppose in a way it was kind of like that. I mean, when I was 14, I joined the Army Cadets, and it kind of pointed me in that direction. So it just became a natural sort of thing to do, which is go and join the military. I mean, I joined the Army myself. Many of my friends joined the Navy, Air Force, etc. And, in those times, it kind of made you what I am. I mean, I'm 61 now, and I still haven't forgotten the basic things that the military taught me. I think it's been said before that when you first join up, you meet people from all over the country, all walks of life. Some make it, some don't. And, it was quite easily the best times of my life. I learned so much. It gave me, I got to do things I'd never, ever probably do in my lifetime. But as I said, that was then and this is now. And I just think that, even down here in Bournemouth, we have a lot of trouble with, again, it's predominantly young people probably under 30, I don't know.
Yeah, Trevor, I'm going to move along, but I thank you very much indeed for the call. It's fabulous to talk to you. Let's go to Michael in Tyne and Wear. Hi,
Hello.
Michael. Hello. What do you think about national service?
Well, I think it should be brought back. I also think it should be compulsory for all over 18 years old. And it also should be a free choice for the females, because females are just as great at whatever they want to do within the army or the Navy or the Air Force.
But question, Michael, Trevor, our caller just now, he said he doesn't think young people are up for it. He doesn't think that they've got the right mindset. He doesn't think they take to the discipline very well. What do you think about that?
Well, we had that when national service was in anyhow. You had people who didn't want to go and didn't think it was and stuff like that. But national service, if it's done properly, where also learn a trade within the army, for everything that they need to know to go to war, if we ever go to war, and I hope we never have to. But if they learn a trade, the army could be a place where for the national service, they come out with a certificate for whatever they want to do, mechanics.
Life skills and trade. Michael, thank you. Let's go to Eddie in Wiltshire. Hi, Eddie. Hello, Eddie. Is he there? Don't know if we've got Eddie in Wiltshire on the line. All right. Well, thank you so much for your calls on that.